Hey there, and welcome. So, today we're going to talk about safety, but not in the way you might think. We're not talking about spies or crazy alarm systems. Nope, we're diving into the invisible risks that are all around us every single day. And just understanding them, that's the real first step to being truly safe.
I mean, really think about that for a second. We put so much effort into protecting ourselves from what's out there. But this question, it makes you stop and look around your own home, right? To think about the environment you actually control and the vulnerabilities we all live with.
And that's really the heart of what we're talking about today. See, safety isn't just a passive thing where you hope nothing bad happens. It's an active process. It's about knowing where you're most vulnerable so you can build a smarter, better way of living. So with that, let's start from the ground up. All right, to get started, we need a key concept. It's like we need to learn how to read this invisible map of risk that's all around us. And that journey begins with understanding our own personal vulnerabilities. So here it is, the big idea, a risk factor. It's just any condition that makes an accident more likely. And this is a huge mental shift, It takes us from thinking accidents just happen to realizing, whoa, accidents are often predictable. And if something's predictable, well, it's also preventable. And when you look at these factors, they're so normal, right? Age, for example, puts the very young and older adults at a higher risk. Impaired mobility, that could be something permanent or just temporary, like if you're recovering from surgery. Even things like poor vision, being in a new place like a hospital, or just the side effects from a medication you're taking. Do any of those ring a bell for you or someone you love? Okay, so let's take this idea of risk and apply it to a specific time in our lives. We'll start with childhood, a time when that safety map is changing, like constantly. This timeline is just fascinating. It shows so clearly how the risks literally grow up with a child. For infants, the danger is right there in the crib. Then for toddlers who are just so curious, it's things like poisoning or burns. As they get older and more independent, the risks move outside with them, to the street, to the playground. And then, for teenagers, it's all about navigating new risks, especially behind the wheel of a car. So for every single one of those risks, there are simple, powerful things we can do to prevent them. Putting infants on their back to sleep, never ever calling medicine candy to a little one, turning pot handles in on the stove. These aren't complicated, high-tech solutions. They're just life-saving habits. Okay, let's shift gears now. Let's talk about another time when we're especially vulnerable, when we or people we care about are patients. This is when that safety net around us becomes absolutely critical. One of the simplest but most important parts of that safety net is this little two-step check. Before any medicine, any procedure, they should ask for a name and birthday and then check it against the ID band. And here's the thing. As a patient or as an advocate for one, you have the power to make sure this happens. Every single time. Falls are a massive risk in hospitals and care homes. But just look at this list. None of this is rocket science, right? Keeping the call bell right there so someone doesn't try to get up on their own. Making sure the bed is as low as it can go. Just making sure they're wearing those non-skid socks. It's all about creating an environment that is systematically safer. This brings us to a really tough topic, and one that's often misunderstood. When someone is confused, maybe agitated, it can seem like restraints are the quick and easy fix to keep them safe. But are they really? This insight right here just flips that whole idea on its head. Instead of solving the problem, restraints can actually make it worse. They don't do anything to address what's causing the behavior in the first place. Is it pain? Is it fear? They just restrain. And the hidden costs here are just devastating. You're talking about psychological harm, humiliation, a total loss of dignity, but it's also physical. Muscle weakness, terrible circulation. They can even lead to the very injuries, like falls, that they're supposed to prevent. It's why they have to be the absolute very last resort. Okay, from the very specific vulnerabilities of a patient, let's zoom out to a universal threat, something that affects every single one of us, no matter our age or health: fire. And knowing what to do in those first few moments can make all the difference. When there's a fire, it's pure chaos. It's so easy to panic and forget everything. That's where this acronym RACE is so useful. It's like a mental checklist. First, R for rescue, get people out of immediate danger. Then A for alarm, pull the alarm, call for help. After that, C for confine. If you can safely close doors, that can starve the fire of oxygen and buy you precious time. And finally, E for extinguish or evacuate, make that call. And hey,
if you do decide you can fight that fire, there's another great acronym, PASS. First, pull the pin. Then aim, and this is the part people always get wrong. You aim at the base of the fire where the fuel is, not at the big flames on top. Then you squeeze the handle and sweep from side to side. It's a simple method that can turn panic into real action.
Now, if a burn does happen, what you do next is so important. First, you've got to stop the burning. Then you cool it down with cool running water, and notice it says cool, not icy. You want to do this for at least 10 minutes, maybe even 20. This is so critical because it's literally pulling the heat out of the tissue so the damage doesn't get worse. After that, cover it with a clean dressing and, of course, seek medical help for anything serious. Wow, okay, we've covered a lot of ground. So let's bring this all home. Let's talk about how you can take all this awareness and actually turn it into action in your own life. You know, building safety into your life isn't about some big, grand gesture. It's all about small, consistent habits. It's about noticing clutter. It's about finally securing that loose rug that everyone trips on. It's about having a fire escape plan and actually practicing it with your family. And so importantly, it's about speaking up when you see something unsafe, whether it's at home or at work. If you take one thing away from our time together today, let it be this. More than any fancy lock, more than any alarm, your own awareness, your ability to see that map of risk around you is your single most powerful safety tool.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. After all this, what's one small thing, one safety risk that you can reduce today, right now?